Hello, it's me again. It is April 11, 2019, and I have two people watching me, so if I mess up, then so be it. Essentially, on this whole spiritual journey, I've also come to think that physical fitness is an important part, and I'm not the only one who thinks that way. In fact, the Buddha said that that was the prerequisite for enlightenment. You had to have excellent physical health. So, whether or not that's true, it sure makes you feel better and confidence. And anyway, so as you know, I'm doing these calisthenics to see if they will be the right fit for me, because I do think it has to do with your body type and also what you enjoy. If you think that they're neat looking, then maybe you should try. I always thought that my anterior deltoids were kind of small, and I've been doing a lot of front straight arm lifts to try to exercise them, and they are growing, but I definitely think that the push-up exercises and the planches and the dips, etc., really work the anterior delts a lot, because I'm very sore right now. So let's talk a little bit about the plan. First of all, I'm a big advocate of intermittent fasting. I think I've spoken about that on previous videos, but intermittent fasting means basically you don't fast for more than a whole day at a time, or if you do, it's very regulated. My intermittent fasting is basically going about 16 to 24 hours without eating, because it releases a lot of human growth hormone, which has been shown to decrease fat, to increase muscle mass, and it's also been shown to fight cancer, because your body, basically cancer is abnormal cell growth. So your body realizes that, hey, these cells are growing abnormally. That's the first thing that I'm going to destroy and basically metabolize. So your body kind of regulates itself. And that's why vegetarian diets and vegan diets are so healthy, because your body is it's not exactly fasting, but it's very similar. And your body realizes it doesn't have a plethora of extra nutrients, and it kind of streamlines and improves its process on its own. So, back to the topic, intermittent fasting. I am fasted right now. I think I ate around 7 o'clock last night, and it's just about 11 o'clock in the morning. So, I'll be able to eat after this workout. And that's another thing. If you're going to work out, it's always best to work out fasted, unless, of course, you are really trying to gain a lot of mass. So you could take a pre-workout or something to get you pumped up before you work out. Also, interesting thought, if you are trying to eat unhealthy, a great way to do that is to work out really hard before you eat, because all of the glucose channels open directly up to your muscles to replenish the glycogen that you use up while working out, which is the same thing that happens when you fast. Your glycogen supplies are used up first, and then you go into lipolysis, which is breaking down your fat stores. So right now, my glycogen is mostly depleted, but not too bad, so I can't work out. But I'm going to work out, and it's going to deplete my glycogen even more, and then when I eat, I don't have to worry about fat spillover. It's going to go straight to the muscles. So let's talk about the workout plan. I have just started calisthenics, so some of the moves are pretty difficult, like the planche and the L-sit. They're difficult to the point that I can't actually perform them at all right now. So I'm working my way up, and this documentation is partially to show the progress over time. Yesterday, I focused the entire workout on my stomach, trying to work on my hip flexors and my abs to be able to perform the L-sit better. And of course, I was working on my hamstring stretches as well. Now, my goal right now is to really try to focus on one set of muscles per day, because I don't necessarily want to do a full body workout every day. That is great for losing fat, etc., and I'm sure I would lose fat, but that's not the point really. The point is to grow strength and muscle size, and we already know that growing your traps and your shoulders and decreasing your waist is kind of the whole point. You want that golden ratio, that 1.618 shoulder width to waist width. So my biggest problem is my waist, not my shoulders, but I personally want to grow them more anyway. So I am choosing specific calisthenic exercises to grow my upper torso and to shrink my lower torso. Now, again, I focused on strengthening my hip flexors and my abs yesterday. They're not exactly sore, but I want to work on my L-sit strength as far as holding my body up. So today I'm going to try to do a tucked L-sit where I'm just holding myself up off the ground with my legs bent, And I'm going to hold it as long as possible, and then I'm going to put my legs down and try to keep my torso up off the ground as long as possible as well. And in the tutorials about how to do it, they always specify that you want to put your clavicles forward and down. They call it protracted. And so you're building your strength in your pectorals and in your lats when you're doing that, as well as, of course, your triceps a little bit, and your deltoids, your anterior deltoids, and your posterior deltoids primarily. So I also have a theory that if you do these enough and well, meaning fully contracted, that you don't really have to worry about doing pull-ups. And I don't really like pull-ups because I had a surgery when I was little, and my left lat is sliced right in half. And I'll show you that someday. But for right now, you can take my word for it. And when I do pull-ups, I'm always feeling a little imbalanced. And you have to work with your body type. If you know your body, like I know mine, then you would understand what exercises are beneficial and which ones may not suit you all that well. So I'm going to be doing these instead of pull-ups because they still work your lats, they still work your back, your lower traps, your rhomboids, all those things, without feeling imbalanced and uncomfortable like I get whenever I do a lot of pull-ups and work out those lats specifically. My left side always hurts and feels uncomfortable. So, what else? Oh, yes. I'm doing basically a 4-day split, so I'm breaking up the exercises depending on what muscle groups I want to work. I don't want to work the same muscle group 2 days in a row because then the ingrain gets too much and you don't recover naturally and fully. So I worked out my stomach yesterday. Today I'm not working out my stomach. I'm doing the L-sit, working on my lats, my traps, not my traps, maybe a little bit, but my lats, rhomboids, pecs, anterior and posterior deltoids, triceps. And there's an interesting book that I have over here, if I can find it. And it's talking about working out. It's a really wonderful book that I came across that breaks down what actually happens in your body as far as metabolism of your muscles and breaking them down and having them grow back. I'll have to see if I can find it and show you. But essentially, there's a lot of science going into the detail about how muscles get broken down and how they rebuild. And the moral of the story is, if you work out a certain way, you're only working fast twitch, slow twitch, etc., unless you find a way that actually works all of them in subsequent order. And the way that the book says to do that is you start out with an exercise that is difficult but not too difficult to hold too long. So if you do, let's say, I want to do 100 pounds of shrugs, and I can only do it for 5 reps. Well, I'm essentially fatiguing my fast twitch muscles, but I'm not really getting to the slow twitch or the middle twitch muscles. So the key to working all of the muscles is to find an exercise that is hard but not too difficult, that you can work the fast twitch until they fatigue, and then the middle twitch till they fatigue, and then the slow twitch till they fatigue at the very end. So you're working all the different muscle types that all have different fibers and different sizes. And I may have the order backwards, but essentially the important thing is that you work all of the muscle fibers, not just certain ones. And according to the book, really, if you find the perfect exercise and do it with perfect form to failure at about a minute, that's all you got to do. Well, what I'm going to do is try to hold each pose 2 minutes, because then I know I'm really fatiguing all the muscles, especially if I can't hold the poses that long in the first place. So I've been looking for the book. I'll have to dig through my fitness kit and find exactly where it is. But that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to try to hold these poses for 2 minutes, and basically I'm going to make sure that I'm absolutely at failure. And then I'm going to decide how many sets to do. Usually it's 3 or 4. There is some great evidence to show that 8 sets of 8 is very popular, very useful. Really, Arnold Schwarzenegger would say, shock the muscles. That's the important thing. So don't always keep it the same. Switch it up. Surprise your body. And that's another part of this theory that I'm trying to do. Along with the intermittent fasting, my theory is that the body has some innate intelligence, and it will adapt to suit what you tell it has to do. So if I tell it that I have to stay small in order to keep lifting my body up with calisthenics, I think that I will be able to essentially eat pretty much normal without being too calorie restrictive, but grow muscle in the proper places and lose fat in the proper places to be able to do these calisthenics and completely change my body shape. So now you know all the science behind it, and we're just going to go ahead and start now. As you can see, I'm trying to work my way around this little one, so we'll see how this goes. I haven't figured out how I'm going to do the timer plus video at the same time, so I'm going to pause this for my first set.